Final Legal and Documentation Report, 200 square meter portion, Lot 265-C, Barangay Sawahan, Dagami, Leyte. Prepared by Mark Anthony Bitonghol Verzosa, PRC Accredited Real Estate Salesperson, accreditation number 0023706, under the direct supervision of real estate broker Jobel Recalde Patente, registration number 0032782. Section 1. Property and Transaction. Based on the documents and photographs provided, the subject transaction concerns the following property: a 200 square meter portion of mother lot number 265-C, with a total mother lot area of 18,289 square meters, located in Barangay Sawahan, Dagami, Leyte. The original title is OCT number P-100349, with the registered owner being Elvira R. Cañete, married to Rolordo Jose E. Cañete. The buyer is Eileen Gaspay Adonis, who purchased the 200 square meter portion. The sellers are spouses Romualdo Letrodo Regaton and Gloria Edloy Regaton. The purchase price is 100,000 Philippine pesos, confirmed by a separate acknowledgement of receipt of full payment. The deed of absolute sale was notarized on July 30, 2026. Section 2. Important title chain issue. This is the most important legal point in the transaction. The documents provided do not show that Gloria and Romualdo are presently the registered owners on a new TCT. Instead, the deed of absolute sale states that the sellers claim ownership by virtue of an extrajudicial settlement of estate with deed of absolute sale, involving the heirs of Elvira. Therefore, there appears to be a pending transfer in the chain of ownership, from Elvira to her heirs, then to Gloria and Romualdo, and finally to Eileen for the 200 square meters. The safest course is not to treat the transaction as though Gloria and Romualdo already have a clean TCT in their names.
Section 3. The EJS with sale is not the same as a simple EJS. You clarified that there is no separate extrajudicial settlement of Elvira's estate. Instead, the document involved is an extrajudicial settlement of estate with absolute sale from the heirs of Elvira to Gloria and Romualdo. This distinction is important. The heirs document must be examined carefully to determine who all the heirs of Elvira are, whether all compulsory heirs participated, whether the necessary signatures are present, whether Elvira's death certificate is available, whether the marriage and family relationships are properly documented, whether estate tax requirements were complied with, and whether the instrument has already been registered with the Registry of Deeds. This should be verified before the buyer spends substantial additional money. Section 4. Status of the buyer's 200 square meter purchase. The buyer already possesses a notarized deed of absolute sale dated July 30th, 2026, together with an acknowledgement of full payment. This is a significant document. Under Article 1498 of the Civil Code, execution of a public instrument may constitute constructive delivery of the property. However, registration remains critically important against third persons. Under Section 51 of Presidential Decree 1529, registration is the operative act insofar as third persons are concerned. Therefore, the buyer should not simply wait indefinitely. She should immediately secure and preserve her rights while the subdivision and title transfer process is being completed. Section 5. Can the buyer pay CGT, DST, and transfer tax now? The buyer should immediately start the BIR ONET assessment and obtain written confirmation from the proper BIR RDO, but should not assume that paying the taxes alone will allow the Registry of Deeds to issue or annotate the 200 square meter title while the seller's ownership chain remains unresolved. Do not simply pay taxes blindly. Instead, bring the complete transaction documents to the proper BIR office, explain the full situation, ask BIR to determine the proper tax treatment and required sequence, obtain the official computation, and keep every receipt and proof of payment. Section 6. The CGT deadline. The deed of absolute sale is dated July 30th, 2026. For a taxable sale of real property classified as a capital asset, the CGT return is generally due within 30 days following the sale. Therefore, the transaction should be brought to BIR immediately, rather than waiting for the new subdivision title. Target BIR filing and assessment as soon as possible in August 2026. Section 7.
The subdivision is a separate step. The 200 square meter portion is currently undergoing subdivision approval. The approved subdivision plan will establish the exact technical identity of the portion. The Registry of Deeds will need the appropriate approved survey and subdivision documents before a separate title can be issued.
Section 8. The most important protection for the buyer. Because the seller's TCT transfer is still pending, it is strongly recommended to obtain a supplemental agreement or acknowledgement and undertaking signed by spouses Romualdo and Gloria Reggaeton in favor of Eileen Gaspé Adonis. This agreement should state that the purchase price has been fully paid, the sellers acknowledge the sale, the sellers undertake to complete the transfer of the mother property into their names, the sellers authorize the buyer to process all government requirements, the sellers shall not sell or mortgage the same portion to another person, and the sellers will cooperate in securing the new title in the buyer's name. Section 9. Recommended strategy. Do not cancel the sale and do not simply wait for the seller's TCT. Instead, pursue the transaction through 3 tracks simultaneously. Track A, BIR. Start ONET and tax compliance immediately. Track B, Subdivision. Continue the approval of the 200 square meter subdivision. Track C, seller's title. Require Gloria and Romualdo to complete the transfer of the mother property into their names. Final conclusion. Eileen Gaspé Adonis has a substantial documentary basis for her purchase, including the notarized deed of absolute sale, full payment acknowledgement, identified property, and ongoing subdivision process. However, the buyer's separate title cannot be completed until the seller's ownership chain and subdivision requirements are properly finished. The most important immediate actions are: verify the current mother title at the Registry of Deeds, review the complete EJS with absolute sale, bring the deed of sale to BIR immediately, pay applicable taxes within deadlines, and obtain a written undertaking protecting the buyer. Prepared by Mark Anthony Betangol Verzosa, PRC accredited real estate salesperson, under the supervision of Jobel Recalde Patente, real estate broker, JM Realty Property Solutions.